Alright, let's take a look here. Okay, so you're playing with a Sig. Mercy Bap. Ash Doom. I'm just gonna watch this like first fight, and then I'll back up and start talking about things. Gotcha. Okay. So we're gonna talk about a few things here. Okay. Turn this on. Yeah. So, watching this third person makes a little bit more sense, I think. But look at how much time you spend just in this choke doing nothing except getting shot at, losing your shield. Like, all of this time here, you're not actually doing anything. You're not a shield bot. You don't just, and especially since, like, who would you even be shield botting for in this comp? Doom doesn't need a shield bot. I mean, I guess Ashe could, but Ashe should be hanging out with your Sig. Like, Ashe Sig Mercy should be a unit, you and Bap should be a unit, and Doom should be, like, a third angle, or playing with you and Ryan. Or, I mean, you and Bap. But, like, you have a couple of options here. You can flank through Hotel. You can go here, or you can go around the pillar here. You could also do like a whole rollout around over that way and come up across to this high ground or drop below. There's a bunch of options, but these three are really the ones that are most common right now. So first off, you need to pick one. And you can kind of decide based on what they're running. If they're running a Mei, you don't want to take these two because they can wall you off too easy. So going around is better. And pretty often, I like just kind of going around this way anyway. It just gives your team all these sight lines here when you start pushing around. But you can also push up to this corner and hold, and that's good too. Wherever you go, your Sig should be off-angling to you. Either he flanks through here and starts pressuring from behind, or he comes around whatever, the other side of the pillar from you. It's fine. But you need to be aggro as hell. You don't just stand here holding shield. You walk in, you get to a corner, you stabilize, you get shield back if you need it, you let people heal up if they need it, and then once you're stabilized, you push in and you start swinging. You are a scary German man with a hammer. You really need to be swinging. And then here, so you kind of start wrapping around. You guys have pushed these 5 back, but you still got Ashe and Spawn. Bap is half over here. Doom is low over here. Like, you're all kind of spread out, so this just is not a good time to push in. You really need your team ready to push with you, and they're not. So Mercy goes over to heal up the Doom. Ashe is coming back. You almost are ready to push back in. You need like 2 or 3 more seconds, and then you can push back in. And you pin deep while Sig backs out, and then you die. Now, Ryan pinning deep isn't the throw move that it used to be, but it still requires good timing, and good timing isn't at the very beginning of the fight like this. Good timing would be if you pinned, like, later on in the fight when everyone is scattered, things are messy, people don't know where other people are, and then suddenly there's a giant German man with a hammer swinging on the back line. People don't know how to deal with it. Like, suddenly tanks have to turn around to go save their backline from the Reinhardt, which lets your team walk in and shoot them from behind. Like, those plays are actually really good, but you have to time them right. You can't just go in 1v6 while your team is regrouping and expect to get any success. Cool. So here, this is better. You're fighting around the corner. You push the Rhine around the corner, and now you're going to back around here. But still, you're taking a whole bunch of time. You're not actually pushing in. You're just sort of standing there. It's not making space for your team. It's not really doing anything for your team. So the way you're playing, and this is kind of actually common with, I'd say like golden below tanks. Oh, hey, Taser, Epic, and Sneezer. Oh, dang. Hi, guys. Uh, oh my god, what was I just saying? ADHD as hell. I'm gonna drink more coffee. That'll make this better. Uh, here, let's see. He gets nanoed, you die. Okay. Or do you? Or you die, but your team's getting trades, trading back. Cool. And you guys went. Oh, now I remember what I was saying. You're like gold and below main tanks tend to play like it's your DPS's job to get an opening pick and then you can push in, but that's not true. It's not your DPS don't make space for you. You need to make space for your DPS so they can get a pick. You can't just stand here and wait for members of your team to get something done. You have to help them do it. And that means pushing in. So we're going to talk a little bit about space. I think I'm going to let this cap finish and then talk about making space on tanks. Okay. Cool. And you start pushing up a little bit. Okay, let's just pause and talk about space. So when people talk about tanks making space, what they're talking about is all of the safe places their own team can stand to do work, or just any place on the map where they can be and safe. You control that part of the map, basically. So if you're here on Reinhardt, you could probably call all this space. This is safe space. But none of this is. Your DPS can't walk into that right now. If they do, they'll die. Now, if you push in and you come up to here, well, now this over here is safe space, but like this lane isn't, this lane isn't, right? Make sense? So map control with the tanks would be like you push here so you get this space, and then your SIG pushes here, and now you guys have like all of this, and your team can be playing in here. So you don't want to just go in deep. You can't just take the whole map at once. It's a process. So you go from on Reinhardt especially, you go from corner to corner to corner, taking the map, pushing the enemy back. If you get super low on resources and you don't feel that you can push any further without dying, then you hold that corner until you get your resources back, or you even pull back and give up some space if you have to not die. And then once you get your resources back, you push in again, and you keep pushing, and you try to take more and more of the map. That is making space in a nutshell. I'll try to give you more ideas of how to do that as we go on. But first things first, just this choke in particular. I don't know the state of comms on your team, but like, hopefully people are calming and you can get them to come with you. I understand that ranked is a shit show. Sometimes that doesn't happen. So what you want to be doing after you cap this point is holding as far forward as you can safely. with 5 people. One person on cart. Just one. Probably a support. Uh, who you got? You got Mercy and Bap. I would probably leave Bap on cart, honestly. Send Mercy up. Mercy, like, you're not hard engaging on a fight. You're slowing their push down. So, like, you could hold this corner and then back up to this corner and then back up, you know, to this corner, etc., etc. And by the time you actually take a fight, the cart has moved through this choke. Because if they manage to stop the cart in this choke, it's so hard to get it moving again. This choke is so narrow, and with the cart in it, it's even narrower. You can just send spam down here and keep people bottled up in here for a really long time. And it just makes it very hard for them to move the cart out. So if you're defending, you want to push in as hard as you can and try to get here to hold this. And if you're attacking, you want to push in as hard as you can over here to prevent them from taking it. And then you just kite back as slowly as you can. You make them fight for every inch of ground so that when you get to here, cart's here too. And, like, it's too late for them. If you do this really well, like, I've straight up held this corner, backed up to this corner, and then capped second point for free. One person on the cart pushing it the entire way without it stopping because the other 5 of us were holding this. You really don't want your Sig on cart. He needs to be up forward helping you. But I guess the takeaway here is go into comms, try to get people to push up with you, and get as many people to push up with you as you can and only leave one on cart. If you don't get that many, then you have to adjust how you play this. You have to kite back sooner. You don't want to die, but take as much space as you can and give it up as slowly as you can based on the number of people you can get to come with you. All right, let's see this fatty. I guess it's also, you're right, Epic, it's also common in plat tanks. Probably diamond tanks too, although diamond tanks tend to be super aggro. It was okay. Let's think about this real quick. Okay. You guys push in. You see the Rhine behind you. You just push right past them. Boom. He jumped away. Unfortunate. Whoop. And Zarya got out of the way. Unfortunate. You want to be careful shattering Zaryas that they don't have their bubbles, because bubble blocks shatter not just for them, but anyone that is behind the bubble as well. So, like, if she had personal bubble, she could have body blocked for this Ana, and you only would have knocked down the bat. So that's something that you got to watch for. You also have to be careful that your team can handle this Rhine that you just left all alone. And I would be really worried about him having shatter. So you really need to track the other tank's ults because he's 83%. It would not be unreasonable to assume that he had shatter, and if he did, and he shattered right now, like, maybe that's enough to flip this. Like, you get the one pick on the Ana, die for it, and then Rhine shatters, kills your BAP, maybe your Sig, Mercy never gets that res off, etc. Like, you need to be careful walking past the Rhine to do this. The other thing is you don't have a lot of time to follow up on your own shatters anymore. Since the shatter nerf, like, the days of Rhine turning a fight by himself with shatter, just, they don't really exist anymore. Sometimes you can pull it off, but it's really hard. So I hit this shatter, I do one swing, one fire strike. And I would try to, if I could, walk up here and hit the fire strike. I know you have that Hanzo, so you would probably die doing that. So what I would do here with these two down is I would pin this Hanzo into this corner, turn around and fire strike the BAP, and hope that that uh, like any amount of additional damage comes in to finish him off before he stands up and gets the lamp, because like he's just barely over 100 HP. Let's see what he's at. 103. So if you hit him with a fire strike now, he has 3 HP left. He still gets lamp off. So you know that kind of sucks. You would playing it the way I would have played it. You would have only killed the Hanzo rather than only killing the Ana, and that does leave both supports up, but it leaves them really low, and you behind them, so they have a choice of turning to deal with the Reinhardt that can very easily kill these two, or healing their tanks that are now surrounded by your team. So at that point, since you have killed the one with the most damage, even if you die, it's kind of okay. Because killing this Hanzo wins this fight for your team, simply because the supports then have to deal with you or die. Those are their two choices. And in dealing with you, they let the rest of their team die. So this is one of those times where you could pin deep. If you don't kill that Hanzo, though, he kills you, which is exactly what happens. Boom. Cool. And then you push these two back. Boom. We're walking up. Okay. So people are super split now. They're pushing the Genji out. Cool. They killed the Genji. And now you guys are really holding this forward space. You're backing up off your Sig, and now you're holding cart. You need to be up forward. Sig isn't the main tank, you are. Sig should be off-angling to you. You aren't off-angling to your Sig. You're the front line. But this is all really good. Nice, good cap. They go late. Lamp exists. Aw. Okay, and then you lose this fight. Whatever. Blade exists. Nanoblade, in fact. Cool. Okay. Good. You just hide from that? Nope, nope, nope. Ooh, you're lucky. So, that was one of those things that you get away with in gold, because people don't really have focus fire or good reaction times. But as you climb, doing a fire strike like that into... Wait, is this your window or their window? Yeah, this is their window. Okay. Yeah, you don't have a BAP anymore. So, doing a fire strike into them through the enemy window, yeah, it's juicy, but that Hanzo can burst you down in like a half a second. Ana can land the nade through here. Nade through window does 120 damage and you don't get healing. Like, all the damage coming through here is doubled. So you peeking it to throw the fire strike will absolutely get you killed in higher elos. So that's just something that you really need to be looking out for and be careful about. When they window early like this and you can just hide from it, just wait the 10 seconds, just hide, and then push in. Good shatter, good pin, really good pin because I saw you curve to get the Hanzo too. And now you're pushing up. Okay, let's talk a little bit about how you take space. Which is, so you tend to walk, like right now, right down the middle of main. You're the main tank, you should be front and center, so you would think, and you know you have the big ass shield to protect you, but that's not actually where you want to be. You really need to plan for what happens when shit goes wrong. What if they suddenly break your shield? Well, now what do? You're in main. You have nowhere to go. You're screwed, even though you are a tank. So, like, you really want to be pathing from corner to corner and, like, hugging walls as you go and hugging cover as you go, so you can drop your shield safely. You're not a shield bot. Your shield is for you to walk in and walk back out, or to catch specific cooldowns, ultimates, let a particular team member take a duel or whatever. Like, you are choosing to block specific things with your shield. You're not just holding it up and catching all the spam coming through. Nice. And then you back up because you're low. What killed you? Where is... Oh. Oh, that's how he got used. Jumping. Gotcha. I was like, who's behind you? I guess the ball is also behind you. Yeah. Honestly, this was fine. Weirdly enough. Let's back up and see if you could have done it a little bit better, but like... Your doom goes up. You're playing this corner. Your Sig starts pushing an off angle. You have them all corralled. You kill 2. Yeah. Your supports should have been able to heal you up there. I get that it's gold, so like, don't blame them. You can't expect them to be like higher elo supports when they're not. It's just unfortunate. I feel like you played that right, and with better teams you would have been kept up. And it's important for you to go in and kill things like you had to, and then you had to back up because you were critical, and then your supports just didn't have a chance to heal you up. Unfortunate. Rein is really tough to play if your supports aren't doing a good job pocketing you. That said, you also need to recognize that you're not always the pocket target anymore, depending on who else is on your team. If you're playing with a Zarya, your Zarya matters more than you. She does so much more damage than you do, and she has a better range than you do. Once your Zarya is high charge, if your supports are good, you're dead to them, quite rightly, and they are hard pocketing your Zarya and keeping her up. And you can choose your own adventure. You can play safer, or you can go aggro, get some picks, and die in the process. Like, it's actually okay, so long as you're getting shit done. But just, like, recognize when you are legitimately not the healing priority, because those times exist. You're not always the president anymore. Okay, and you backed up into the mines. Unfortunate. Okay. And you got Shatter. You got one more push. Siglift also versus a Dry Blade and soon Dragon and Window. Nice. So, you as Rein can use your ultimate to cancel other ults sometimes. So, this Genji Blade, he's just killed 2 people. He could potentially kill 2 more here. Like, this is bad. You have to wait for him to use his dash. Otherwise, he will just dash out of your shatter and you won't catch him. But once he has dashed onto somebody, you flick to them and shatter the Genji, especially if he's nanoed, and then you pin him and you kill him. And that is how you can save your team from the Genji Blade. Either landing the pin or landing the shatter first to make the pin easy. Yeah. Oh, also, just on this map, I want to open your eyes to another option. Coming through here is just remarkably safe. They can't really be shooting you as you come up, and you can always drop to the cart right here. because it's already that far, or like you or members of your team can push around here and start pressuring all these people from the side as well. So like this flank is really good when the cart gets stuck towards the end of King's Row, which happens kind of a lot. Huge. So, things to think about. One, uh, like, so it's almost, or it is last fight. Like, it's almost OT. So, use them or lose them with your ults, right? And that was a fat shatter. The problem is, your team is still coming back from spawn, or like, and there's just the three of you right here, or four, I guess, with the Mercy. Uh, and they have respawn advantage. Their respawns come back way quicker than yours. So, even if you kill a couple people here, like, you're not really flipping the fight, especially if you die in the process. Because now it's a 3v3 even, with literally three people about to run outside, and you got two all the way back here still. Like, uh, I know it was fat, but sometimes you gotta hold it and wait and use it at like the last possible second. Buy as much time as you can for your team to get back together, get as close to six people as you can, and then touch the card at the last second and do what you need to do. Now you say you cap this, so I imagine what I'm about to see is Mercy. Oh no, Mercy already used her res. Okay. Your EMP goes off. But your Lucio dies. You're back on Monkey now. You guys get antied. Wow. It's just taking them really long to, like, kill you. Oh, well. Oh. And now they have to int onto the cart, and they do it badly, and you guys cap. Okay. I'll be real, the other team should have won that fight. But, cool. Okay. Very important, getting your sprays. Let's see where you choose to hold. Fire Strike is fine. Ooh, got 20%. Good shit. Okay. I know you're Rhine. Oh, I need to make that noise stop. 1 second. Okay. You're Rhine and you want to swing. I just spent this entire last round talking about how you need to push in and swing. This is not where you want to hold because they can run right over you. You have to cross like so much open space to get out. Uh, if you have speed and they don't, you can do this because your Lucio can speed you back if you trust your Lucio to do that. Whoop. Here, actually, let me just draw this. This will, I think, be a little bit easier. So, generally speaking, I would recommend holding like this corner here, and then as they push through, your team can still shoot them in this choke just as well. And start softening them up, breaking shields, doing damage, wasting resources as they push in. They have to push into you, so you can just wait, let them push into you, swing, swing, swing while your team's doing work this entire time, and then you back up to this corner. and then to this corner if you got it. Or you back up and then you turn around and you push right back in and you kill them. Or maybe they like you push back in, but then they push in with some more resources, so you pull back out. And there's this whole ebb flow feeling that you need to have, like, you really need to be like feeling it out. That's such a bad description, and I really hate saying that, but like you'll see it if, especially if you watch like high level teams, L teams, whatever, and just like go bird's eye view and watch how they move. You'll see them moving in and then pulling back, and moving in and pulling back, uh, based on like advantage, disadvantage. If you feel at a disadvantage, you start backing up. You feel like you're at an advantage, you start pushing in, right? Uh, and what you're doing is you're buying time for the rest of your team to do work. With you holding here, you are taking an even one-to-one fight, which you never want to do as the defenders. Like, you're swinging on him, he's swinging on you, you have all your team and resources behind you, he has all his team and resources behind him, so like you're giving him an equal fight. And why do that when you can instead just hold back here a little bit, and then by the time he gets to you, he's been softened up by your DPS. And then you pull back even more and he gets softened up even more. And then maybe you pull back even more and he gets softened up even more. So then when you press W and start swinging, you just wreck him. If you start playing like this in gold, I mean, people don't play like this in gold at all. Like, you'll climb so fast and so easy. Just understanding that ebb and flow feeling, or like the concept of kiting, which is maintaining a distance. So as an enemy pushes in towards you, you pull back. As they pull back away from you, you push in, and you maintain roughly the same distance between you. That's really important for spam heroes like Orisa, Sig, etc. to understand. Cool. You were actually kind of doing it there. You hear the hog. Oh, he's anti. Just pin him. Just pin him. Yeah. He's antied and he has no hook. Get him. Urizari's kind of wasting your bubbles. Unfortunate, but that's gold. Good pin. And now you're way too deep. So you had already pushed them back, and you had won the fight, pushed them back, and they wasted an ult just to walk back and get nothing out of it. You didn't need to shatter there and like push in and almost die. Well, I guess not almost die because they just didn't follow up on it. But like, uh, the way chokes work, choke, their team, your team, all the benefit of the choke comes from you existing on this side while they exist on this side. The second you cross into their space, or they cross the choke into yours, you no longer have any advantage from this choke. So don't go into open space. If you can push them back through this choke like you just did, you have won. You are now at an advantage again. They now have to fight their way back through this choke. Pushing in like that, overextending, uh, is how they flip this fight. Remember, they have respawn advantage. You don't. Any trade they get benefits them. So even though you won the fight, if pushing in here and going for that Ana had gotten you killed, then they wait for the respawns and they take a 6v5 before you ever get back. Maybe not in gold, but like, that's how you beat the better teams too. Good counterpin. But now, yep, you're in super deep, and that's why you want to hold back to point. So then you can just, your team has LOS on you, and you can kite back. They used a bunch of ults, and now you all die. Actually, did they use... You guys used High Noon and Shatter. Or you used Shatter last fight, so you just used High Noon. I guess they just used Bob. I thought more ults went off. Okay. Boom. So now you're holding back on this corner. I already talked about this, so like, you already know. You want to be up here, holding this. Especially since they gave you all this space for free, and you don't have to fight to take it. Yeah. Push in. Good job. Shinkri holding back, spamming the choke. So this is different from that first choke. Because of how narrow this choke is, you can, and with the cart in it especially, you can actually effectively hold people in here while your DPS basically can't miss just spamming shots into them. Unlike that other choke, which is a lot wider and doesn't have a cart through it. You get nanoed, but you're gonna die. Boom. Oh, let's see if you know the pin out of here. Looks like you don't. Okay. Just as a fun fact for Ryan, rolling out to point, come out this side, jump and pin, and hit the top of this box. And then you can go over here, turn, and in the pin with a jump, and you land like here-ish. You roll out super fast. Hold jump while you're pinning, so you just like, as soon as the pin ends, you jump, which carries your momentum, and you go a lot further. That's assuming you're using your pin to travel a long distance. Pinning through the mines is kind of high risk, and now you're like isolated and forward. Good block though, and good shatter. If you are not already tracking the other Reinhardt's shatter, that is something you need to be doing. Tracking ults just in general is a really good thing to do, especially any ult that you personally can do something about, you really want to track. But shatter is vital, because you can cancel a super powerful ultimate holding your shield up at the right time. And that's way easier to do if you know it's coming. Also, once you know an ultimate is coming, let's pause real quick. That was just wasting way too much shield for no reason. But yeah, once you know an ultimate is coming and you watch the players with that ult, it becomes super obvious when they're going to ult. Like, people are super easy to read, their playstyle suddenly changes, suddenly they're way more forward, they're playing way more aggro than they were before, they're looking right at you and hard Wing, they're about to ult you. And knowing that's coming, like, you could shatter an ult to cancel it, you can block it with your shield, maybe you can pin the person away from your team or to kill them, like... so now we're learning the pain of off-angling. Well, I mean, you personally can't do anything about it because you're Reinhardt, but this cannot stand. And, like, the Genji being up here also cannot stand. You have to have people clear high grounds if they start taking them, because, as you just saw, what do, Ryan? You're getting shot from all kinds of different directions. You have nowhere you can shield and still be safe. High grounds are super important. Also, as Ryan, I know you want to swing, but, like, if you're waiting for a cart to move anyway, stand up on the high ground with your team for your team. You can hold shield for them to a limited extent, but mostly it's just If somebody tries to dive your Ashe up on a high ground, they have to deal with a Reinhardt when they get there. The fuck? Like, that's really hard to deal with. And then you can throw out fire strikes from up there, and you can't swing anyway. So, like, wait till the cart is below you, and then drop down and start swinging. There's a lot of maps like that. Rhine should be taking high grounds along with everyone else, and then dropping when he wants to swing, not just waiting low ground, uh, because it's just so much easier for them to get to you and do things to you. Yeah, so that map is just up there for free. You guys can't do anything about it, and it's causing some major problems. The only so this is how other members of your team help you take space is by taking forward high grounds like this. Because now the only option you have now that they're up here is to back up. If you back up, you can shield all the spam. But if you keep trying to hold this cart, you're screwed. And that's why that's so powerful, and why off-angling is so good, and why your off-tank should be off-angling to you. Zarya's a little different. She plays fairly close, but still is taking angles. I don't mind the pin, except, like, Bob had been hacked already, and maybe you could have pinned the Nano Blade, but... cases. Do you guys touch? Nope. Okay. And since you finished in OT, you don't get a second attack. Alright, you did your little fire strike. Backing up. See, this ball is getting angles on you, making your life difficult. And now you're antied, and you have to back way up to get out. Luckily, your SIG is there to help you get out. Yeah, so you're doing the ebb and flow thing here, just in the wrong spot. You're backing up to what should be your starting location, and then not backing up any further than that. You got lamp out. Nice. Yeah, so as Reinhardt, you have two choices when the enemy windows. Uh, and which one is better is entirely situational. You can press W and walk through it, which you have to do very quickly. You can't just stand there waiting because your shield will disappear. Or you just LOS it. You go hide somewhere else and wait for it to end. Good hold so far. Good pin. Okay. Oh. Oh, you got hooked out of the counter pin. Oh, good. You're still alive. Mercy got hooked. Job with Liana. Okay. You needed to shatter those other two so your team could maybe clean them up and you could get and then you could shield the BAP as you backed up. I think that was your only real option there. Unfortunate. You guys almost held this. So honestly, dude, it's really not that bad. I think uh, I covered a lot of the things that I think would be important to cover. There's just two more that I want to talk about real quick. I need the beeping to stop. There we go. The beeping has stopped. So the first is actually, I guess one more because I already talked about the importance of taking high grounds as Rhine. So like, take high grounds. This map's a little bit weird for that, but like most maps aren't. Uh, Fighting on corners as Rhine. This is like a fundamental skill that you need to understand. Um, Basically, so here's like a generic corner. Ignore what the map is, I'm just picking a corner to illustrate things. So you're here on this corner, and all your team is behind you, right? In an ideal world. I get that this is ranked and you'll have people here and here for whatever reason, but like, we're talking ideals, you got your people around this wall. The enemy Ryan is here, and his team is all, behind him. Since you guys are around this corner, you're safe. These people can't shoot you or your team can't shoot any of them, right? So you and Ryan are battling over this corner with the help of your team supporting you. And what you are trying to do is turn the corner first. If you can turn around and hold the corner right here, this corner for them becomes open space. They no longer have any cover anywhere from your team, who can peek as much as they want and shoot and still be back behind cover. This doesn't mean you're standing here holding your shield for them to shoot. You're still swinging on this Rhine or whatever it is you feel you need to be doing. But if you're swinging on this Rhine, like, if they stop looking at you to deal with whoever is randomly peeking and poking, then that's fine because you kill them yourself. And if they're busy dealing with you, well, that's fine because then your team kills them. How you turn this corner can get really weird and complicated sometimes. It has to do with the heroes on your team, the heroes on their team, how well everyone is playing, etc. But the goal is to turn this corner first, and when you start coming up against better Reinhardts, like Diamond and above, really, they're going to know this and they're going to start trying to do this to you. So you need to be looking out for that and really fight to try to turn it first. Because if they turn on you, your only option is to back up somewhere and get cover, or push really hard and try to flip it back. But like, you're at a disadvantage as soon as they turn this corner on you.